Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Today I will be discussing about lab number 14, that is basically to display and manipulate the output of BIOS interrupt programming using emulator 8086. Basically in this lab we will be discussing about the BIOS interrupt and specifically in 21H to get an output from your LCD and to get an input from your keyboard. So basically in this lab first we will see that how we can get an input from a keyboard and how we can display that input on the LCD. Similarly then we also get a complete string of or complete stream of data from the keyboard, and similarly that stream of data will be displayed on your screen. So in this lab this is the main objective of our lab. First I'll explain a few things that are related to this. First is that what is a memory model. Basically machine language program consists of code, data and stack. You already know that machine language programs consist of three type of data. First is code segment, data segment and stack segment. Each part occupies a memory segment. You already know that this code portion and data portion and stack portion actually stored on some memory of your microcontroller. So basically there are different models available depend upon the size of or the, you can say, the length of the segment. Basically your code segment, data segment, stack segment take some portion of your memory. So this model decides that how much portion will be allocated to that specific segment. For example, here you can say that different type of models. For example, you can see that there is a model called as small. So in that portion if you allocate small model, you will get one segment for the code and one segment for the data. So basically I'll going to explain the syntax of allocating a model directive. So basically first of all you will write dot model and then you will type the memory model type. There are different memory model types. I'll explain one by one. For example, first one is the small. The description of that is in case of small, one code segment will be allocated and one data segment will be allocated. If you choose the medium, code is more than one segment whereas data is only one segment. If you choose the medium, you will be getting more segment for the code and only one segment for the data. Then if you used a compact one, you choose the model compact. In that case you will be getting one for the code and more than one for the data, more than one segments for the data. Similarly, if you move forward and see the next type, in that case you will see a large model. In large model you will be getting more than one segment for code and more than one segment for the data, but there will be no larger array than 64K bytes. Last one is if you use the huge model type, in that case you will be get more than one segment for the code, more than one segment for the data, and similarly a larger size, the more greater than 64K byte for the array. Similarly there are some program structures. For example, for exe file there are some program structure. For example, here you can see that here defined the model small, and then stack is represented with the size, and then data is represented. Now here you can write your code and then there is a main procedure where you can write your main instructions which you need to be execute. And similarly this type of format is being shown when you choose the when you open your emulator and choose for a new one and you decide which template you are going to use. For example, if you use exe template, you press OK and this data segment defines how many bytes you need, and then code segment, and then there is a portion where you can write your actual code. So basically this is all being already used by the compiler. Then the main task which we are going to explain is the DOS service routine. Basically that is the interrupt used for calling the input and output ports and input and output devices and peripheral devices.